Have you ever suddenly woken up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, feeling dizzy, maybe a little confused, wondering what just happened? Most people think it's just a bad dream or maybe a bit of stress. But the truth could be far more serious, and it might start with something as simple as what you ate before bed. You see, many of us, especially those over 60, have a habit of enjoying a handful of mixed nuts in the evening. They're crunchy, satisfying, and seem like a healthy snack, right? But what if I told you that certain nuts, when eaten at the wrong time, could quietly raise your blood pressure, slow your blood flow, and even increase your risk of stroke while you sleep? Now I know that sounds hard to believe. After all, we've been told for years that nuts are good for your heart, your cholesterol, and your overall health. And that's true, but only when they're eaten in the right way, at the right time. Late at night, especially for older adults, the story changes completely. In this video, we're uncovering a health truth that doesn't get talked about enough: how certain bedtime snacks, particularly some kinds of nuts, can become a silent threat to your heart and brain. Let's start with pecans. Rich, buttery, and often found in holiday desserts, they seem innocent enough. But pecans are loaded with calories and saturated fats. Just a small handful can contain over 200 calories and a heavy dose of fats that aren't very heart-friendly. During the day, your body can burn through them. But at night, when your metabolism slows down, these fats linger in the bloodstream, thickening your blood and slowing circulation. One study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming high-fat snacks late in the evening increases blood viscosity, literally making your blood thicker, especially in older adults. And when you're lying still for hours at night, that thick blood moves slower, increasing the chance of clot formation. Now let's talk about pine nuts, small, tasty, and often tossed into salads or pesto. They might feel gourmet, but they're also packed with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 isn't bad by itself, we need it, but it must be balanced with omega-3s, like those found in fish. Unfortunately, most people today consume way too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3. This imbalance causes inflammation in your blood vessels, and over time, that can lead to chronic vascular damage. A study from the Journal of Lipid Research found that diets high in omega-6 fats were linked to long-term blood vessel inflammation, particularly dangerous for older adults. When your arteries become stiff and fragile, even a small increase in nighttime blood pressure, from stress or dehydration, can push them over the edge. Next, there's the hazelnut. It's often found in chocolates and sweet spreads, but many health-conscious people also eat plain roasted hazelnuts. They do contain heart-healthy nutrients, but they're also high in arginine, an amino acid that increases nitric oxide, which widens your blood vessels. Now, that sounds helpful, and during the day, it can be. But at night, especially for older people with unstable blood pressure or fragile arteries, too much dilation too quickly can cause blood pressure swings. A clinical review in hypertension research found that high arginine intake during rest periods may cause microvascular complications, especially in the brain and eyes, for seniors. Let's move to a popular one, trail mix. It looks healthy, with nuts and dried fruits, but most store-bought versions are packed with salt, sugar, and preservatives. The sodium increases fluid retention, raising your blood pressure. The sugar feeds inflammation in your blood vessels. When combined, this creates a dangerous environment for clot formation while you sleep. One study in Circulation showed that a high-sodium, high-sugar diet increases the stiffness of your arteries and your risk of clots, especially when blood flow slows at night. Imagine your bloodstream like a highway. At night, traffic should be light. But with too much salt and sugar, the road becomes sticky and jammed, the perfect conditions for a clot to form and travel. Then we have salted roasted almonds. A classic American snack, crunchy, satisfying, and often eaten by the handful in the evening. But salted almonds can quietly spike your nighttime blood pressure. Just 1 ounce can contain 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium. And if you're not counting, those numbers add up fast. For people over 60, especially those managing hypertension, even moderate sodium intake at night can be harmful. A study in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension found that even small increases in nighttime sodium can lead to significant pressure spikes. Your heart is supposed to relax at night. But with high sodium in your system, your cardiovascular system stays on alert, increasing the risk of silent strokes or heart events. And finally, let's talk about pistachios. They're fun to eat, marketed as heart-healthy, and often seen as guilt-free. But they're also high in arginine, just like hazelnuts. This can trigger a drop in blood pressure followed by a rebound spike, a roller coaster effect that puts stress on the heart and arteries while you're supposed to be resting. Plus, most people eat salted pistachios, adding another layer of risk. One serving can carry more than 120 milligrams of sodium, and as with other nuts, it's easy to eat far more than one serving. So what should you do? You don't have to give up nuts. Just change when and how you eat them. Enjoy your favorite nuts earlier in the day, with breakfast or lunch, when your body is more active and ready to digest them. Avoid snacking on them at night, especially if they're salted, roasted, or part of a sugary mix. Remember, your heart, brain, and blood vessels work hard for you all day. Let them rest at night. If you eat nuts before bed, type 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 0. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an important health tip from Health 365. In our next video, we'll be revealing a few vegetables that seem healthy, but under certain conditions, may quietly harm your body. Until then, stay safe, stay aware, and take care of your heart. Salted snacks, it's easy to exceed healthy limits without realizing it. Imagine your body like a seesaw at bedtime. You need balance and calm. But pistachios, between the arginine-induced vessel changes and added sodium, can throw that balance off, making your heart work harder just when it's supposed to rest. So if you love pistachios, the good news is you don't have to give them up. Choose unsalted versions and enjoy them as a mid-morning or afternoon snack when your body is more prepared to handle the effects. Avoid making them a bedtime routine. As we continue uncovering the truth behind so-called healthy snacks, there's one more nut that often escapes scrutiny: walnuts. Touted as brain food, they may carry risks many seniors don't realize. Walnuts often come with a golden health halo. Rich in omega-3s, antioxidants, and plant-based nutrients, they're praised for brain health and heart protection. But when it comes to snacking on them before bed, especially for older adults, there are some important nuances you should know. Unlike some other nuts, walnuts are high in polyunsaturated fats, particularly alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3. During the day, ALA helps reduce inflammation and supports cardiovascular health. But at night, your body processes fats differently. Your metabolism slows, your digestive system rests, and fats stay in your bloodstream longer, especially in older adults, whose lipid metabolism may already be slower. Here's where it gets tricky. A study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that consuming high-fat foods, even healthy fats, before bed can increase nocturnal triglyceride levels. Elevated nighttime triglycerides can disrupt your body's natural blood flow regulation and raise your risk of arterial stiffness over time. The body is simply not as efficient at clearing fats while you sleep. There's another layer. Some people experience acid reflux or indigestion when they eat high-fat foods late, including walnuts. This can interfere with sleep quality and even cause a spike in nighttime cortisol, a stress hormone that affects both blood pressure and heart rhythm. And let's not forget that salted snacks, it's easy to exceed healthy limits without realizing it. Imagine your body like a seesaw at bedtime. You need balance and calm. But pistachios, between the arginine-induced vessel changes and added sodium, can throw that balance off, making your heart work harder just when it's supposed to rest. So if you love pistachios, the good news is you don't have to give them up. Choose unsalted versions and enjoy them as a mid-morning or afternoon snack when your body is more prepared to handle the effects. Avoid making them a bedtime routine. As we continue uncovering the truth behind so-called healthy snacks, there's one more nut that often escapes scrutiny: walnuts. Touted as brain food, they may carry risks many seniors don't realize. Walnuts often come with a golden health halo. Rich in omega-3s, antioxidants, and plant-based nutrients, they're praised for brain health and heart protection. But when it comes to snacking on them before bed, especially for older adults, there are some important nuances you should know. Unlike some other nuts, walnuts are high in polyunsaturated fats, particularly alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3. During the day, ALA helps reduce inflammation and supports cardiovascular health. But at night, your body processes fats differently. Your metabolism slows, your digestive system rests, and fats stay in your bloodstream longer, especially in older adults, whose lipid metabolism may already be slower. Here's where it gets tricky. A study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that consuming high-fat foods, even healthy fats, before bed can increase nocturnal triglyceride levels. Elevated nighttime triglycerides can disrupt your body's natural blood flow regulation and raise your risk of arterial stiffness over time. The body is simply not as efficient at clearing fats while you sleep. There's another layer. Some people experience acid reflux or indigestion when they eat high-fat foods late, including walnuts. This can interfere with sleep quality and even cause a spike in nighttime cortisol, a stress hormone that affects both blood pressure and heart rhythm. And let's not forget that store-bought walnuts are often packaged with added salt or sugars, which only increase the cardiovascular burden. A handful before bed might seem harmless, but if it's salted or honey roasted, you're adding sodium and sugar on top of slow-digesting fats. So, what's the takeaway? Walnuts are absolutely a heart-healthy food, but they-bought walnuts are often packaged with added salt or sugars, which only increase the cardiovascular burden. A handful before bed might seem harmless, but if it's salted or honey roasted, you're adding sodium and sugar on top of slow-digesting fats. So, what's the takeaway? Walnuts are absolutely a heart-healthy food, but they're best enjoyed earlier in the day, like with breakfast or lunch. This way, your body can use their nutrients effectively while avoiding the nighttime stress on your cardiovascular and digestive systems. She noticed she wasn't sleeping well, and one night she even woke up dizzy with a racing heart. Her cardiologist advised moving her workouts earlier in the day, and the difference was remarkable. If you enjoy evening movement, try gentle stretching, slow walks, or calming yoga. Save intense cardio for the daytime when your body is better equipped to handle the strain. Now, let's turn to something small but powerful: your core. And no, we're not chasing six-packs here. Crunches and sit-ups, those old-school core exercises, might look like a good idea, but done too quickly or too often, they can actually be risky for older adults. Quick, jerky abdominal movements without proper breathing can create sudden pressure inside your chest and abdomen, interrupting normal blood flow, especially to your brain. It's like kinking a garden hose. The result? Less oxygen to your brain. A study from the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that older adults doing fast core exercises without breaks saw reduced cerebral blood flow. That means dizziness, disorientation, or even fainting. I once met a gentleman at a wellness class who said sit-ups made him feel lightheaded every time. His doctor explained that the quick crunches were cutting off blood flow to his head. He switched to slower core exercises and hasn't had an issue since. So what's safer? Try pelvic tilts or seated marches. Breathe steadily, exhale during effort, inhale on release. And never rush the movement. With our core grounded, let's step onto the treadmill, but with caution. Treadmills may seem safe, but for seniors, there's a common mistake: running too fast without holding the handrails. As we age, our coordination and reaction time slow. Fast movement without support increases the risk of stumbling, sometimes with devastating consequences. NIH data shows that seniors have the highest rate of treadmill-related accidents. One key cause? Not using the rails. Even a short stumble can lead to falls, fractures, or, in some cases, cardiovascular strain or stroke. I remember a man in his 70s who ran hands-free every morning. One slip changed everything. He hit the floor hard and ended up with a head injury. His doctor said that simply using the rails could have prevented the fall. So what's the smarter move? Keep your pace steady. Use the rails if needed. Better yet, try walking at an incline. It boosts your heart rate safely, without risking a fall. Next, let's talk about stillness. Planks. They're praised as full-body exercises, great for posture and strength, no equipment needed. But holding a plank too long, especially while holding your breath, can quietly stress your heart. Planks increase pressure inside your belly and chest. Add breath holding, and now your blood pressure spikes while oxygen drops. It's like closing a valve your heart is trying to pump against. The Journal of Strength and Conditioning research found that breath holding during planks caused big increases in blood pressure, even in fit older adults. One neighbor used to do 2-minute planks daily. Soon, she started getting chest tightness and headaches. When she shortened her holds and focused on deep breathing, those symptoms vanished. Love planks? Great. Just modify. Do 20 to 30-second holds with slow, steady breathing. And always pay attention to how your body feels. Now let's talk about something simple. Standing up and sitting down. We do it every day. But doing it too fast, especially during repeated squats, can cause a sudden blood pressure drop, called postural hypotension. It's very common in older adults. Quick position changes make your blood shift, and if your system doesn't adjust fast enough, your brain might not get enough blood, leading to dizziness or even falls. It's not about leg strength. It's about how well your blood circulation keeps up. A study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that older adults who often changed position quickly were more likely to report dizziness and suffer falls with serious injuries. I had a friend who added fast squats to his routine, thinking it would keep him agile. But he started feeling lightheaded all day. When he slowed down and paused between each rep, the symptoms disappeared. A safer strategy? Rise slowly. Pause. Let your body adjust. Use a sturdy chair for balance if needed. Remember, balance isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Now let's finish with something just as important, hope. We've explored how even common movements can quietly carry risks. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's about respecting how our bodies change with age and learning how to move smarter, not harder. Staying active is one of the best things you can do for your health. But after 60, the goal shifts. It's no longer about pushing limits. It's about protecting your body and honoring what it can still do, beautifully. If today's video made you rethink a few habits, whether in yourself or someone you love, that's a powerful first step. Small changes can lead to big safety. Let's keep showing up for ourselves, keep learning, and choose health every day. Now, millions of seniors go to Health 365 for checkups, thinking it's the right move. But what if I told you that some routine medical tests could actually increase your risk of stroke, overnight? Sounds hard to believe, right? You trust your doctor. You follow every instruction. But hiding behind modern medicine are risks few people talk about. Not the media. Not the pamphlets. Sometimes not even your doctor. Imagine leaving your annual checkup thinking everything's fine, then days later you're dizzy, confused, or worse. What happened? Here's the truth, some diagnostic tests, especially if done too often or in people with certain conditions, can cause blood pressure spikes, reduce blood flow, and trigger a chain of events leading to stroke. But don't worry. This video isn't to scare you, it's to arm you with knowledge so you can ask better questions and protect yourself. Because after 60, it's not just about catching problems early. It's about avoiding the ones that modern healthcare might accidentally create. In the next segment, we'll reveal 5 common medical tests that may carry hidden stroke risks for older adults, and how to protect yourself before your next appointment. If you're over 60, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 0 and subscribe to Health 365, where we uncover what others won't. Let's begin with the first test you should think twice about. If you've had a CT scan with contrast, you might recall that warm flush that spreads through your body. That's the dye enhancing the images so doctors can see blood vessels and organs more clearly. Sounds useful. But many older adults don't realize this dye can quietly stress the cardiovascular system, especially if you already have high blood pressure, kidney disease, or heart problems. Sometimes, the contrast causes a vasovagal reaction, a sudden drop in blood pressure and heart rate. You might feel dizzy, faint, or nauseous. Other times, the opposite happens, blood pressure spikes and delicate blood vessels constrict. That's when the risk of stroke increases. A study in the Journal of Vascular and Interventional Radiology found that seniors who had contrast-enhanced CT scans were more likely to experience vascular complications within 72 hours, especially those with hypertension, heart issues, or kidney disease. Here's one real case. An 81-year-old man went in for a routine scan for mild stomach issues. The scan looked fine. But 2 days later, he suffered a minor stroke. Doctors believe the contrast may have spiked his blood pressure and triggered a clot. This doesn't mean CT scans are bad. They can save lives. But they must be used wisely, not just as a routine test, just in case. So, what can you do? Ask your doctor, is this scan essential? Share your full medical history, especially if you have kidney, heart, or blood pressure problems. And ask, can we do this without contrast? Sometimes, the answer is yes. Ultrasound can provide enough detail without adding unnecessary risk. But up next is a test many seniors agree to, even when they feel perfectly fine, that may not be as harmless as it sounds. Let's talk about the stress test, or exercise stress test. On paper, it seems smart: strap on a heart monitor, walk on a treadmill, and track how your heart handles physical effort. But if you're over 60, especially with high blood pressure or existing heart conditions, this test might do more harm than good. Here's why: as the treadmill speeds up, your heart rate climbs, your blood pressure spikes, and your cardiovascular system faces sudden stress. A healthy 30-year-old might handle that easily. But for an older adult, it can be like lighting a match in dry grass. The risks? Sudden blood pressure surges, dangerous heart rhythms, and in rare cases, tiny blood vessel ruptures in the brain. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Cardiology examined over 1,300 patients over age 65 who did treadmill stress tests. Nearly 7% experienced negative effects, like irregular heartbeats and blood pressure spikes. The group most at risk? Those with known vascular problems. And this isn't just research, it's real life. Margaret, 74, from Ohio, had high blood pressure and took her doctor's advice to get a stress test. Halfway through, she got dizzy and felt chest tightness. The test was stopped immediately, but the next day, she had a mild stroke. Doctors think the test caused her blood pressure to rise too quickly, rupturing a small vessel in her brain. The test didn't cause the stroke directly, but it tipped the balance in an already fragile system. The takeaway: talk to your doctor. Ask, is there a safer way to check my heart? Options like a nuclear stress test, using medication to mimic exercise, or a resting echocardiogram may be safer for older adults. And if you have no symptoms like chest pain, fatigue, or shortness of breath, ask if the test can wait. Next, let's look at a test that's become routine after 60, the endoscopy. It's often used to examine the esophagus, stomach, or colon. Sometimes that's necessary. But if you don't truly need it, especially one that involves sedation, it could do more harm than good. Most people over 60 take medications like blood thinners, aspirin, warfarin, or Plavix. When combined with sedation, blood pressure and circulation can shift. That, plus blood thinners, can increase the risk of internal bleeding, or in some cases, silent strokes. A 2021 review in gastrointestinal endoscopy found that people over 65 who underwent sedated endoscopies had a higher chance of experiencing small strokes, also called TIAs, within 72 hours. One story that stands out is of a 76-year-old woman who had a colonoscopy with sedation. She had no symptoms before, but 2 days later she began slurring her words and couldn't walk straight. A mild stroke was confirmed. The likely trigger? A drop in blood pressure from sedation and her daily aspirin dose. It created the perfect conditions for a clot to move. This doesn't mean you should skip every endoscopy, but you should never agree to one without understanding why it's necessary now. If you're symptom-free and your doctor is just being cautious, ask if there's another way to monitor your health. And always remind your doctor about any medications you take. Ask if you need to stop your blood thinner first, and whether sedation is absolutely needed, or if lighter options are available. Next up, a test many don't think twice about, but it involves your kidneys. MRIs are powerful tools that help spot early problems. But when contrast dye is used, it can be risky, especially if your kidneys aren't in top shape. Contrast dye in MRIs often contains gadolinium, a heavy metal. Your kidneys are supposed to flush it out. But kidney function naturally slows with age. If you have undiagnosed kidney issues, gadolinium may linger. That buildup can be dangerous. Gadolinium has been linked to a condition called NSF, nephrogenic systemic fibrosis, which hardens skin and tissues. In serious cases, it can affect mobility and organ function. Even more concerning, gadolinium has been found in brain tissue, and some researchers believe it may cause fogginess, dizziness, and balance issues in vulnerable seniors. A 2019 radiology study followed 2,000+ patients over 65 who had contrast MRIs. About 5% had stroke-like symptoms, headaches, confusion, blurred vision, within a week. Most had kidney problems, diagnosed or not. One example, Harold, a 79-year-old veteran, got a contrast MRI for back pain. 2 days later, he felt weak and foggy. Labs revealed undiagnosed stage 3 kidney disease. "No one warned me," he said. "I would have asked more questions." So what can you do? Ask if the MRI can be done without contrast. If it can't, ask for a kidney function test first, a simple blood test called GFR. Let your doctor know if you've ever had odd reactions to medical imaging before. The MRI isn't the danger, it's the dye if your kidneys can't handle it. Next, let's talk about another test that seems safe, the carotid artery ultrasound. It's painless, quick, and non-invasive. But if you don't have symptoms, and your doctor's just checking, just in case, this test could lead to surgery you don't need. Your carotid arteries send blood to your brain. With age, they often build up plaque. That's normal. But not all plaque needs to be removed. If your ultrasound shows 50 to 60% narrowing, your doctor may refer you to a vascular surgeon. And then you might be advised to have surgery. But if you had no symptoms, no dizziness, vision changes, or weakness, surgery may offer little benefit. Worse, it carries real risk. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine followed 3,000+ seniors with moderate carotid narrowing and no symptoms. In many cases, surgery didn't reduce stroke risk any more than medication and lifestyle changes. In fact, a few patients had strokes caused by the procedure itself. Helen, 82, from Pennsylvania, had 65% narrowing and felt fine. Her doctor scheduled surgery anyway. During the procedure, she suffered a stroke. She survived, but with lasting weakness. I wish I'd known doing nothing might have been safer, she told us. So if your doctor recommends a carotid ultrasound and you feel fine, ask, what are we looking for? And what happens if we find it? If you're already on heart meds and living healthy, extra tests might not change anything. And if narrowing is found, ask about repeat scans before jumping to surgery. Always get a second opinion. Let's wrap this up with a reminder. Not every test is dangerous, but not every test is necessary either, especially after 60. Our bodies are more sensitive. What seems routine, a dye, sedative, or scan, can create ripple effects. A small injection might spike blood pressure. A quick scan might bring unexpected reactions. That's why it's so important to pause, ask questions, and make sure each test fits your needs, not just a checklist. You have every right to ask, is this essential, or is there a safer option? Informed choices lead to better health and peace of mind. Your story matters. Your voice matters. And here at Elderly Wisdom, we believe knowledge, not fear, should guide your care. If you or a loved one ever felt strange after a test or scan, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 0. Let's learn together. And if this video helped you feel more aware, more in control, or just curious, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom. We're here to uncover the truth, ask the tough questions, and always put your well-being first.